So we want to pick up where we left off. We were discussing about the current medical model, how they treat heart disease is totally antiquated with very poor results. Less than 2% of people get better. As I said, heart disease is a growing business. If you look at the hospitals, they're only adding more wings onto their hospitals. They're growing their cardiac units and stuff. It's big business. But also too, the results and stuff are very poor. Heart disease is still the #1 killer of Americans for the last 20 years. We haven't made a dent in it, but we're spending tons of money in it. And we're really looking at all the wrong solutions for heart disease. That we need to look at a different model. We talked about the wellness model. We talked about looking at not just preventing diseases, but also looking at optimizing your health. And we do that by feeding your body the right nutrients, where it's not only going to treat a symptom, one single symptom, but it's going to make your entire body healthy and well. We want to dive into a little bit more of what that's about. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about the fallacies of actually looking at cholesterol as actually the only blood work that's actually shows heart risk. It's actually showing you the incorrect numbers, and I want to talk to you about some really great blood work that's going to give you way more information and give you really a true assessment of actually your overall health function. So let's look at this. I want to do a quick little screen share here and talk about the best ways to predict heart disease. Is not the crystal ball as this lady's doing, because that's what's actually going on. Most of the time now doctors are guessing at it because they're not looking at the right things of actually how is your heart actually even working. So first of all, let's kind of look at some overall general numbers. I know I refrain from this, but people always want to ask the question, what should my numbers be? And I'm going to throw it out there just so we can get past it. I'll be honest with you, this is not really tried and true, but it's going to at least answer some questions that people have out there. Overall cholesterol, you want it somewhere less or lower than 300. Triglycerides, you want actually half your total cholesterol, and you want your HDL actually half of your triglycerides. So overall cholesterol, if it's 300, you want your triglycerides down to about 150, and then you want your HDL actually to be about 75. Or typically, even if your cholesterol is 200, you want your triglycerides as 100, you want your HDL is actually 50. So that's where you want to see. You want to see the right ratios, is more importantly than what your overall numbers really are. So that's just one rule of thumb. So let's kind of look at actually total cholesterol level. And this is where it gets a little bit confusing. If people look at their blood work and stuff, right next to it, it'll say total cholesterol. If you actually have good blood work done, it'll say total cholesterol. Total cholesterol is a mathematical term, meaning it's a summarization of different cholesterol that adds up to it. So most people don't know and stuff how they get that total number. It's actually a combination of LDL, HDL, and your triglycerides divided by 5. Don't ask me why it's divided by 5. I have no idea why. But that's actually an accumulation of those 3 numbers to get your total cholesterol. But what's even more confusing, and why I really scratch my head of what this number really means, and it goes back and proves why certain people can have high cholesterol and have no heart disease. People with low cholesterol actually have really high risk factors, has to do with what I've written over here on the side. If you look at those 3 different fats, LDL, HDL, and triglycerides, they're all 3 different fats as far as what they cause in your health. Triglycerides are completely bad fats. You do not want the lower triglyceride levels, the better. They're just bad fats that come from eating too many carbs, too many carbohydrates and stuff. So those are the ones that build up around your organ. Those are the spare tire we see everyone carrying around and stuff. That's all triglycerides. They serve no purpose other than collecting extra forms of carbohydrates. LDL is actually a damaged oxidized fat. That's when your body actually has stress and damage. Cholesterol goes through and actually cleans it up, and it's what's left over. So the best analogy would be is like if you're washing a car, at the end of when you get to the end of the car and stuff, your bucket of water is always dirty. Why? Because you've been transferring some of the dirt from the car into the water that you're washing with. So it's not that the water was bad, it's just the car made the water dirty, and that's what caused the problem. That's what LDL is. Not really bad in of itself. Thank God you have it, because it's cleaning up damage in your arteries, but it is showing the higher the levels of LDL shows more damage in your arteries. So it's not really beneficial to have that one. Now the last one is HDL. HDL is a good form of cholesterol, and it's actually what protects your arteries. That's the clean water we're using to clean our car. That's the clean stuff that goes through and cleans up your arteries. The higher the levels you have of this, higher meaning anything above 60, is protective to your heart. And they know if you have HDL higher than 60, your heart attack risk go dramatically down. We're talking like percentages down and stuff. So it's crazy, this one number. Again, the higher it gets, the lower your heart attack risk is. So, but my problem with this is when you look at total cholesterol, you're adding a good number with an okay number with a bad number and coming up with a bad number in total. And it's like, no, because here's a scenario I've seen that happens a lot. People come in with a very high HDL and stuff. They've done all the right things, fed their body. They just have a lot of protection, a lot of clean water that's going to really just scrub their arteries and stuff. And basically, it's really elevated. Their triglycerides might be slightly okay or a little bit elevated, and their LDL might be okay. So they have high good numbers, and their overall number is going to be above 200, and the doctors are going to tell them, bad person, you shouldn't be eating all that good stuff. We need to get you on cholesterol medicine to get rid of all this stuff, and then basically just wash it all out. Now, inversely, some people can have low numbers. Their HDL can be completely in the basement, meaning they have nothing to clean your arteries. Your LDL might be okay, and triglycerides might be in the general okay range and stuff. So that's someone who might have 150, but they're super, I mean, they are primed for a heart attack like now, even though that their levels are extremely low. So that's why I'm saying is total cholesterol is the most inaccurate way of judging and assessing your overall health. It's kind of like adding your overall height to what your GPA was in high school to how much money you have in your savings account. It's like three different numbers that mean three different things. Why would you even think about adding them together? I don't know, but that's what they have done with this, and that's why it's total BS. So what I want to share with you is actually better ways to do it. As a study that's been around, or a test that you can do, a blood work test that shows dramatic changes in its relationship to heart disease. It's called lipoprotein A. It's actually a test you can ask your doctor to run. And what they have found out time and time again, people who have higher lipoprotein A's, this is damage done to your heart. It's actually when your heart muscles start to actually break and fracture, it releases these lipoproteins in your body. So it's actually measuring heart damage. Elevated of those, you're going to have a heart attack. Lower of those, you're not going to have a heart attack. Black and white, it's simple and easy. Why doctors don't do that? I don't know, because there's not a drug to lower these. You have to do it lifestyle. CRP is another one that shows inflammation, shows swelling around the heart, shows damage again to the heart. Higher it goes, more problems you have. Lower it goes, less problems you have. Again, black and white. There's no misinformation about that. Why doctors don't run that? I don't know. We do here in our office. And then we're going to start to look at blood pressure. Most people don't understand that actually blood pressure is totally misunderstood. That actually as you get a little bit older, your blood pressure should raise, that they actually changed recommendations for blood pressure. Now it's not 120 over 80, it's actually 140 over 90 is where they start to classify blood pressure, even though they want to start treating people for blood pressure issues, even in the 120 over 80 range, which is totally insane. But this is what really most people are being overtreated for blood pressure reasons, because I see all the time people coming in with dizziness, lightheadedness, especially when standing up. Those are all side effects. You have too low a blood pressure. If you're tired and lethargic, it's kind of hard to get around. Your blood pressure is way too low. Can't tell how many people that is on too much blood pressure medicines and they're actually barely functioning. And most of the time, part of that has to do with when you get your blood pressure taken, might be normal at home, but as soon as you go into a medical doctor's office, it's slightly elevated, and it goes from maybe the 120, maybe even the 130 range, and all of a sudden it's into the 140 range. Is because you're stressed out. Who isn't looking when you're being tested and doctors are looking at you? And all of a sudden you walk out of that doctor's office with a medication that your body didn't even really need. When you go home, it's going to go way back to normal. Now all of a sudden it's not even going to be normal, it's going to be below normal, and you have all these health issues from the medication side effects. So that's how people can quickly become over medicated and actually end up with more problems than what they even originally went into the doctor's office for before. So next thing I want to talk to you about, now that we understand blood work and understand how cholesterol is totally not really the right answer. And there's lots of other tests like lipoprotein, like CRP, they're way more accurate, that you need to request your doctor to run and actually look at those things, which will be a lot more insightful than your total cholesterol. I want to talk a little bit about chiropractic. Why is a chiropractor so passionate about heart health, and how we in our office have seen dramatic results in blood pressure, cholesterol levels, all by doing just chiropractic work. And I want to share that with you.